Hi, and welcome to the Rising Stars webinar for August 2022. Just a quick little introduction for those who are new to the Rising Stars webinar. My name is Karima Kiat, and I will be hosting the webinar today. I am the marketing executive of GRB. So I mainly focus on the marketing activity, the growth, the candidate attraction, and the overall management for GRB and our mentoring program, Graduate Mentor, which I will tell you a little bit more about later. Now, I have a wide range of experience in other industries such as HR, customer service, and I actually have worked in other departments within GRB such as HR and the sales department too. Now, of course, I also manage the Rising Stars program. So first of all, I'll tell you a little bit more about us as a company. Then we can move on to our four wonderful candidates. Now, the GRB was founded in 1997 by Dan Hawes and Chris Cater, and they've grown it to become the go-to platform for university students, graduates, alumni, and recruiters as well. And now we have about 67 staff and over 2,000 clients across all sectors, with clients such as Amazon, IBM, Unilever, Ocado, and several other fast-growing SMEs. And now our recruitment experts have successfully matched over 8,000 graduates with either graduate or executive level jobs. Now, we are not the average recruitment agency. We have many other aspects to us, including our two experienced hire divisions. So we can start with Cortex first, which is they supply IT graduates with up to 5 years of experience. And Metrica, which supplies numeric graduates with up to 5 years of analytical experience to organizations all across the UK. Next, we have a Graduate Mentor, which we launched in August 2020, and it's a free platform for graduates and students to have one-to-one mentoring sessions with experts in their field. So we have over 2,000 graduates on the platform at the moment and over 250 mentors as well. And they've all kindly volunteered to offer their career advice, CV help, interview tips, and a whole range of other things as well. Now, we also have our podcast called Student Diaries, which is on a monthly basis, and our Dan Hawes interviews 3 Sussex University students to find out what life has been like on or off campus in the last year. So we also have a number of LinkedIn groups that we have discussions with recruiters, students, and graduates about their experiences. Next, we have GRN, which stands for Graduate Recruiters Network. So this is an invitation-only group for clients and associates, and we actually have over 3,200 members, and we talk about various issues within graduate recruitment, and we actually have regular webinars to discuss this as well. So next we have our Rising Stars. So this came about by our recruitment experts contacting students and graduates and identifying who really stood out. So this is a great opportunity for graduate employers to see through a shop window of our pick of the UK's finest talent. And every month, our team of experts carefully screen and select who they think are exceptional university students. So essentially the best in class for 2022. So we will showcase a short list of 50 Rising Stars on our website to enable you to view their profiles and request their CV. And the access is actually entirely free too. And every 2 months, we host a short webinar just like this one, interviewing a small selection of Rising Stars, just to discuss more about what they are looking for from an employer and where they want to start their career as well. So as you can see, there are many facets to the GRB group, and I thought I'd just give you a little overview so you can get a good understanding of who we are as a company today. So now what we'll do is we'll find out about our 4 Rising Stars. So I'll just have them introduce themselves to you now, and then you can give a brief overview of their background, and then we can find out a little bit more about them. So Joe, hi, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Joe. So I'm a graduate of Lancaster. So I did economics undergraduate, and now I'm doing MSc management. So I found that economics, I wanted a bit more corporate awareness. So I decided to do management to find out about all facets of business. Outside of that, I really like media. So I have taken part in all three student medias within Lancaster, and I produced my own show called Lancaster Does First Dates, which was quite fun in my second year. So yeah, that's the highlight.
Brilliant. That all sounds great. All right, then, and Danny, how about you?
Thanks, Karima. That was quite the intro, so thanks very much. My name's Danny Demarco. I'm a mature student that decided to go to university in search of a challenge and to change careers. I used to own and manage a small electrical contracting company, and I've done that for around 8 years. I then went on to the University of Leeds, where I studied foundation year in place of A levels in science, followed by a civil and structural engineering degree. I discovered that I love programming along the way and decided to go into an MSc in computer science. I run a scholarship scheme for the University of Bath called the Global Leadership Award, and that sort of cemented my decision to study at Bath. I've just finished my thesis from that course and I'm preparing my job search. So I'm interested in software or web development roles or project management within the construction or tech sectors.
Brilliant. Fantastic, Danny. Thank you very much. And Nimrah, how about you?
So hi, my name's Nimrah, and I recently graduated with an integrated master's in biochemistry at King's College London. So I recently wrapped up my thesis, which was looking at the effect of pharmaceuticals on the environment. And outside of studies, I really enjoy traveling and also learning languages as well.
Brilliant. Lovely. And James, how about you?
Hi, I'm James. I just graduated from the University of Durham and I got a BSc in physics. I sort of chose to study that to improve my technical knowledge and work on my problem solving skills. And I'd sort of like, going forward, I'd sort of like to try and use those problem solving skills in a new role to sort of help out companies, basically.
Brilliant. Lovely. Well, thank you all so much for showing up today. It's been really great to meet you all. So you've probably come to the end of your studies by now and you're free and ready to enter the world of work. So what would you kind of be looking for in an employer and what are your expectations for the next role? Joe, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so I think the first thing for me would be a continued learning path. So I'm big on the fact that learning should not just take place in university, it should take place in the workplace as well. So I'm looking for a company that can really put a spotlight on looking at their graduates and going, well, they're not the finished project. We really want to help them develop. That's like personal, that's business wise as well, like personal skills, and also looking at like actual skills that you can use in your job. And I want them to realize that, yeah, we're not the finished project and they really need to help us develop as well. The next thing would probably be workplace culture. So in a bit different to the recent trend, I'm more so really focused on actual like going into the workplace. So I thought that a company needs to also have not just be a dual approach where most of the time it's remote. So I think it's really a positive thing where that people come together in the office. And I also want the business to be leading change within the industry. So I want the business to put out a really good message. I think that's really important for me. I don't want to just go into work and be working for a paycheck, because what's the point in that? I want the business to be putting out really good message into society and working for real change. So yeah, those are the three things.
Brilliant, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, and personal development is really important in the workplace, especially as a graduate, because you've only learned so much, you know, and there's so much more that you can learn on the job too, like the little niggly bits. So it's really good to have like a little development course or any kind of extra qualifications on the job as well. It'd be great. And Danny, how about you?
Yeah, so I would second that on the education front. as a junior developer, I'm going to be going into a role that requires constant learning and personal development. So I'm looking for an employer that really fosters this kind of environment and encourages continued professional development. This could be through well-structured graduate scheme with good mentorship, or maybe time and funding to take extra courses on top of your workload. I also want there to be a clear and speedy route to senior developer roles or project management, and the required milestones to attain it laid out clearly for me.
Brilliant. Yep, those are all great points, Danny. And Nimrah, how about you?
Yeah, so I agree with the things that have been said. I think it's really important that when you go into a role, there is kind of clear career progression and they do allow room for growth, just so you feel like you're not really doing the same thing on a day-to-day basis. And I do think it's important that there are kind of set milestones. I think one thing which is really good is when kind of employers encourage you to gain extra kind of qualifications, and they kind of support you in doing that. I think another important thing would also be a supportive environment. I think as fresh graduates, for a lot of us, it would kind of be the start of our career. So I think if we do have that kind of supportive environment where you are kind of given room for growth, I think that would also be really good as well.
Definitely, yeah, room for personal development, 100% is always great to have, especially as a graduate coming out. Like if it's your first full-time job or anything like that, you need as much support as you possibly can, really. So that would be a great environment to have that as well. And how about you, James?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what's been said so far. I would definitely like an employer who makes it clear the routes through which I can sort of progress in the company and will sort of assist in my own personal development. And personally, I quite like an employer who is flexible with like hybrid working, especially with like trains and things always being on strike nowadays. I just like someone who's flexible with coming in, working at home.
Definitely, yeah, 100% agree. Hybrid working is the norm now, pretty much. So, and it really does help with in terms of travel and everything like that. So yeah, 100% agree with all of those points. So it's really useful to find out about your criteria. Now I kind of want to talk about red flags. So what would stop you from going forward with a company, and kind of what would put you off? Joe, how about you?
So I think a really good window into what it would be like to work for a company is how it feels to go through their recruitment process. So I think a lot of the red flags can come from that. So if you get to an interview stage, if the interviewer, a lot of times the interviewer themselves can sort of provide that that look at how the company actually works within and how the actual employees feel about it. So if I'm in an interview and the interviewer is like really enthusiastic and they're passionate about selling the role, then I know that the company probably treats their employees well. But if the interviewer is slightly off, they're not really interested in selling the role. They're more so just getting through it. Then that can really provide the red flag. I also want them to be more of everyone's sort of at the same level, less so everyone's split up. Sort of, I want the senior management to be involved. I want more of a cohesive workplace. I think in today's age, everyone sort of has something to offer. So I want even like graduates for their opinion to be valued. Not even just myself, just in the workplace. I want to see that all of my colleagues are being valued. That's a good green flag. But if they don't do that, then it's a red flag.
Yeah, great points there, Joe. You want the interviewer to be enthusiastic whilst you're talking, or otherwise it kind of reflects on the environment within the office, doesn't it? If they're not as enthusiastic as you'd expect. So yeah, great points. And Danny, how about you?
if a company are not growing, but they're constantly hiring new grads, this is a red flag for me. I don't want to be working for a company that has a high turnover of grads. Rigid and inflexible working policies would also put me off. I mean, many companies since the COVID situation now offering hybrid and remote working, and I'd really benefit, or I'd really value that benefit. Limited opportunity for learning or progression would also put me off, as would low salary, poor benefits package. And one other issue in the tech world is convoluted and long-winded hiring processes. So if a company wants me to spend half a day doing an assignment, do 3 technical coding challenges and followed by 6 interviews, then I'd probably look elsewhere.
Yes, definitely. In terms of the hiring process, it's kind of like a window into how the company is really. So if their hiring process isn't very organized and it's a very long process, then it can reflect on the actual way the company is run. They might not be as organized when you start in the first week, maybe. You know, you might have some issues. So I agree with that red flag, definitely. Now, Nimrah, how about you?
Yeah, I would say one red flag would be a company where you feel like you're really being rushed through the whole recruitment process and you do feel like you are kind of being pressured to make a decision. I think that can kind of give insight into the kind of workplace that you would be in. I also think other red flags would be where the recruiters are kind of vague. They're not really being as transparent. They may be not giving you all the details on kind of your role and the kind of place where you would be at the company. I think it's really important that you kind of from the beginning you're kind of kept in the loop and you're kind of given as much information as possible, because I think that can really set you up for like a good start at the company.
Definitely, yeah, that as well. You want to know what your job role is, right? You want to know what you're going to be doing whilst you're working there. So yeah, agree on that, Nimrah, as well. And James, how about you?
I definitely agree with what's been said so far. I think if recruiters are vague about what your role would actually be, that's quite off-putting. I'd also say if they're constantly hiring like low-level employees and there's quite a high turnover, I'd say that's a red flag because that indicates it's probably not the nicest environment. Similarly, if there's quite a few people in quite senior positions who have been there for a while, and then not many other people who've been there for a while, to me that might indicate there's not much room to progress, and I'd probably find that off-putting as well.
Yeah, that last one is definitely a very good point. You want to see internal promotions. You want to see people kind of moving around within their positions as well. And like you and Danny said as well about turnover, you definitely want the lowest turnover you possibly can in your company. So it means they really value their employees. So I agree on that, definitely. So since you've now finished university and potentially maybe worked part-time along this, and you've learned a lot of new skills, are there any new skills that you would like to develop on, or any existing skills that you want to improve on maybe? Joe, how about you?
So a big thing for me is I want to improve upon my creativity skills. So I want an environment that really fosters that. So with my courses, I've done a lot of generalist stuff. So economics is very much looking at the bigger picture, and I want to actually develop some practical skills that may not have been developed at university. So a lot of university is like theoretical, that sort of level, and I want to get some actual like practical experience. Obviously, communication skills can always be developed, in my opinion. Throughout my university, I've always seek to develop that, but I think a big thing is constantly liaising and taking presentations. I think you can always improve, and just getting a better voice in situations like this. Yeah, those are the 2 skills, I think.
Great, Joe. Good to hear. So, and Danny, how about you?
I think going into a developer role, you're never really going to stop improving on your current skill set. The space is too big to know everything, so you're always going to be learning. I'm predominantly a Python developer. I'd like to become an expert in this language, and I'd also like to continue to develop my existing skills in full stack web development. I done a project thesis based on a full stack web app to sort of extend my skills in this area. And in that vein, I'd like to learn a bit more JavaScript and a front end framework called React to sort of really develop my front end skills. And outside of development, I'd really like to work on my management and leadership skills, particularly in larger teams.
Brilliant. That's great to know, Danny. Thank you. And Nimrah, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important when you're in a job role to maybe be given the skills where you can kind of lead more. So maybe more management skills, and also kind of maybe more taking the lead in things so you can grow like your independence. I also think it's important that you're kind of given the skills where you're kind of given room to, I guess, kind of take the lead in things where things are maybe not as structured, and you're kind of given, I guess, the independence to work things through on your own, rather than kind of the answers being given to you.
Definitely, yeah, I fully agree. To kind of be pushed to find the answers yourself is almost one of the best ways to learn, really. So yeah, and James, how about you?
I'd say that over the course of my degree, I've built up like my problem solving skills quite a lot. I'd like to continue to build on that and really learn how to solve problems in more creative ways. I'd also definitely agree with I definitely agree with Nimrah about the management skills. I would definitely like to improve that side of it, because that's not something I've really had the opportunity to do with my degree, and I think it would definitely help my career moving forward.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, James. So then after you've been invited to an interview, I'm sure you'd want to know a little bit more about the company beforehand. So how would you research the companies to find out as much as possible about them? Joe?
So my first port of call is always the company website. I think it's really good literally just checking off all the tabs within the website, and that's the that's the higher level stuff where you can find out more of the surface level stuff about their business. But I think what a really useful tool is LinkedIn. So with the field that I want to go into, I'm constantly looking at what companies are putting out their advertising and marketing they're putting out on their LinkedIn. I think that's a really good way of finding out what their general vibe is like. And I think it's really important that they value the stuff they put out on their social media sites. And obviously, you also want a company that you work for to be interesting and fun while you're working there. And I think LinkedIn gives a really good sense of, would you actually enjoy working at this company? Do the employees want to write about their experience? If a lot of their companies are very absent on LinkedIn, it might give an indication that everyone doesn't enjoy working at the company as much as they might want to. Obviously, I talk to my friends in the sector a lot about roles, so I found out about companies that way. And obviously, careers advisors at uni are very helpful as well. When you go, I have an interview with this company, can you please, what's your opinion on them? How can I get in touch with alumni? That's a really useful aspect as well. So I often connect with alumni on LinkedIn, and I can find out directly what working in the company's like, what they do, etc.
Yeah, all great points, definitely. And especially about the online presence in terms of advertising and marketing, like it kind of shows that the company is active and is relevant and is, trying to stay in the loop, right? So yeah, definitely. And Danny, how about you?
Some great points from Joe there about, figuring out the culture of the company from LinkedIn. I also start with a website, straight to the about page, find a little bit about the company, their values, mission, look into the leadership, where they've come from, and where they're headed. Also check out the blog, give them a Google, see if there's any news, any red flags that come up. Maybe have a look at the stock price, see if the company's healthy. I then turn to LinkedIn, and I think it's good. You can look at all the different employees that are employed in a company through LinkedIn, and you can look at their recent grads and see sort of what universities they come from, what they've been studying, and what their backgrounds are, to get a bit of an insight into what the hiring managers are looking for. So I find that quite helpful as well.
Yeah, all great points, definitely, Danny. Thank you. And Nimrah, how about you?
Yeah, so I would say aside from the company website, really just kind of using LinkedIn. So looking at the kind of things that the company posts, and also maybe looking at the people who work there, see the kind of things that they post and the kind of environment that the company is. I would also say sometimes you can use maybe other websites such as Glassdoor, which where people do share their experiences at the company. Obviously, everyone's experience would be different, but I think sometimes if you kind of see common themes or anything, it can really give insight into what it's like to work for the company.
Yes, yeah, Glassdoor is actually a really, really good website to kind of get an insight on the internal of the company and see how the past employees and the present enjoyed it or disliked it and whatnot. So yeah. And James, how about you?
Yeah, much like everyone else, my first port of call would be the company website, just to see, well, just to find out a bit more about the structure of the company, about what the company does, like what different areas do they operate in. And then I would probably turn to, well, as like Glassdoor, to find out like what it's like to work for the company, and just see like if there's any major red flags that pop up there. And then I'd also probably check like Indeed reviews as well, just to really see, like get a slightly different perspective, but similar to Glassdoor, really.
Yeah, definitely, and Indeed as well. There's so many different websites that you can kind of get an insight on the company culture. So it's definitely useful to use all of them. So then after you've consulted all of the aspects that we've just discussed, what is then the final deciding factor that makes you want to apply for that job? Joe, how about you?
So obviously you've done the research. A lot of the times for me at this level, when you're finally deciding, I think there's a lot of stuff as you go through the recruitment process that you put in the back of your mind, and there might be little thoughts that go off in your head going, is this enough, etc. And I think that final stage is really addressing those little thoughts that you've had about the company and really facing them head on, where you, at the beginning, you might have glanced over them. You might want to put the company in the best light possible, so you continue with the recruitment process. But I think at that final stage, you really need to address those little things that you might have skipped over. And if you address them and you're still happy with going forward with the company, then I think that's really the final decider. Yeah.
Great, good to hear. Thank you, Joe. And Danny, how about you?
I think for me, a good mix of the tech that I'll be getting to work on, the speed of the progress that I'll be able to make once I'm within the company, how well the graduate scheme's laid out, and also the culture fit, what the team like I'm going to be working with. And of course, let's not forget the salary. It's an important issue too. So the salary is a deciding factor, as are the benefits package that's offered.
Course, yeah, benefits package, the salary as well, if that matches your expectations. And there's just the company culture, like after an interview, it'd be nice to kind of be taken around the office, meet a few people, see the environment as well. So yeah, definitely a great point, Danny. And Nimrah, how about you?
Yeah, I would say for me, it would be kind of looking at the bigger picture. So after maybe going through various stages and kind of researching the company, it would be about, can I kind of see myself working there? Does the work they do interest me? Do I feel like I would have enough room for growth in that company? So kind of just looking at the overall picture and seeing whether I can actually see myself working at that company on a day-to-day basis.
Brilliant. Good to hear, Nimrah. Thank you. And James, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it'd be a couple of things. It's would I actually like the work the company does? Would I like to do the work in the role I'd be in? And then I'd sort of consider, does the salary might meet my expectations? Is it like, and I'd probably start to consider like logistics, like would I be able to actually get there? Like, would I have to relocate? Things like that. And then once I've considered all of that, is when I think, okay, I'll apply for this role or not.
Great. Yes, James, exactly. So I think it's really important to take in all of everything all together, but mainly, you know, the salary, the benefits, the hybrid working if you want, the culture as well. So those are all really, really great points to kind of take into consideration. So thank you all so much for sharing your insights today. It's really been great to know about you, and we wish you all the luck for the rest of the year too. So I will just mention for those who are watching the webinar how you can access our Rising Stars profile. So you can see it through our webpage here on screen. At grb.uk.com/rising-stars. You can actually request the account and access all 50 Rising Stars as well. Each one will have a quick summary. And don't forget, you can actually request it for free too. So if you'd like to contact me with any questions, my details are on the screen there as well, along with my LinkedIn. So thank you so much for watching the webinar. We'll be back soon with more Rising Stars for you to find out about. So just keep an eye out for the next one. And I want to thank Joe, Danny, Nimrah, and James as well for joining us today and for letting us know more about you and what you're looking for an employer. So thank you so much, all.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, guys. Bye.